Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot coming at you with the Weekly Comic program. We're about at the midway point, so let's get started. Kicking things off, we've got Carnage number 6. Where we left off, Carnage and Kenneth Neely were in Nibelheim. We're in Svartalheim, and Carnage had possessed one of the mythical hellhounds that are saved in the Dark Elves. And it turns out that his next victim is intended to be Malekith. Meanwhile, Detective John Shade is on Carnage's trail. However, he's been hearing the voice of Cletus Cassidy in his head. And since he has a bit of symbiote material in his body now. So we begin with Hela being told of recent events, and Shade is attacked by a giant serpent and apparently eaten. But using the symbiote, he breaks out, he cuts his way out. Meanwhile, Carnage and Kenneth end up on the frozen river Ilabagar. I'm probably butchering that. John and so Detective Shade comes upon Malekith, who is bound, basically crucified on a giant X. Carnage tries to convince Shade to simply kill Malekith, make it so that Cletus is trying to convince him of this, basically because that would pretty much ruin Carnage's plans completely. Carnage and Kenneth deal with an army of the dead when the Rosvelg, Corpse Eater, and Sincrier shows up, showing Kenneth his various sins, putting a mirror to his sins, so to speak. And then it attempts to do the same to Carnage, but there's too much. And it's overwhelmed. And it dies. So it dies. Hela's Seer briefly sees a vision that involves Carnage on Niflheim, which she then tells Hela of. Hela is more than happy to just let things go. She won't give. She's not one to give people things, but far be it from her to stand in the way of someone else's ambition. Then Carnage and Kenneth arrive at where Malekith was being held, only to discover that Detective Shade has freed Malekith. We catch up with them, wander through the wastes, and Malekith tells Shade not to worry. After all, he's escaped from hell before. And that is where the issue ends. This is definitely going to be an interesting book. Carnage is not my favorite character, but I am enjoying the book. Ram V's scripts definitely elevated to much higher levels. Moving on to our next book, we've got Iron Cat number 4. Where we left off, Tamara Blake had, in a moment of desperation, freed Madame Menace, formerly Sunset Bane, and Madame Menace explained her plan to, ruin Tony Stark's good name by having all the nuclear reactors set up a Stark Tech melt down. So Tony's not happy about this, obviously. And so Tony, Felicia, and Tamara decide to all work together, figuring out how, what to do. But Sunset Bane has infiltrated Star Trek mainframe, and so it takes over. Is using Tony's old armors against, especially Tony. So the three of them have to figure out what to do, knowing full well that Madam Menace is listening in. One of the fun things is, of course, Tamara and Felicia discussing a plan in the vaguest means possible. So they have a plan. Tamara splits off to perform her part, while Felicia and Tony continue on evading the armors, using everything they can to do so. But the drones catch up, seemingly destroy Tamara before Tony and Felicia arrive at the Star Switching facility in New Jersey. Sunset Bane, however, was waiting on them in the Hulkbuster, controlling the Hulkbuster armor, and explains that she knows how Tony's mind works, and so yeah, she knew he'd use that. He'd go there. So of course she brought the Hulkbuster armor to deal with Tony. But he goes on to explain he's using someone else's trick. And in fact, Tony and Felicia aren't even there. They're at the Stark Data Core in Brooklyn. But then Madam Menace drops the bombshell. Tamara's dead. And so she won't be bringing what it is they need to take down Madam Menace. And that is where the issue ends. I loved Jed McKay's Black Cat series, the two that he wrote in the last few years, as well as the various one-shots he's written with her. So yeah, this is much fun. Yeah, it's different, which kind of adds to it. But yeah, anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Edge of Spider-Verse number 4. This is once again, like the others, this is an anthology. This is, as it's an anthology series, it's, multiple stories. So we've got Spider-Ham and The Last Laugh, Spinstress and Once Upon a Spider, The Spinstress Princess, Spider-Mobile and Drive You Crazy, Sun Spider in Prom and Circumstance. Alright, so Spider-Ham, apparently he's become a bit grimmer and grittier from seeing, other spider heroes killed in the various spider crossovers. I may have noted this in previous appearances of Spider-Ham, but apparently he's comically aware. But while dealing with some muggers on Earth 616, he runs into Pete Spider-Man, who is from Another Earth as well. We get his little Marvel Universe Handbook entry. Bitten by a radioactive spider living in his lawn furniture. He heeded the sage advice of his late uncle, Unky Benji. With great patio furniture, there must also come great risk for pest bites. But he patrols his neighborhood, protecting it from Osborne Estates, a wealthy neighboring blind community that's trying to drive the residents of Pete's area out so they can build an exclusive golf course. His villains include Green Lawn Goblin, Craven the House Flipper, Mr. Negative Review, Malsterio, and the Hob Gossiper. Really. But Pete and Spider-Ham work together to rescue people from a building fire, and Spider-Ham thanks Pete for helping him, kind of pull himself out of his grime and grit he was, mired in. As he swings away, however, Spider-Ham is stung by a bee. Or seemingly attacked by one of Shatter's bee minions. So next up, we've got Once Upon a Spider, the Spinster's Princess. Princess Petra on Earth 423 is disguised as a commoner and wandering the market in her small medieval fantasy village, singing as she walks. But the village market is attacked by Bishop Octopus, who's rocking both Frollo and Ursula vibes. But yeah, Spinstress is pretty much just like, Disney Princess Spider-Man, which is kind of cool. But Spinstress has met a young musician who helped her deal with Bishop Octopus. The musician's name being James Watson, though most people call him Mary James Watson. Ha ha. But upon returning home, Princess Petra's mother, the Queen, forbids her from going to the ball tonight. But while looking out the window, she says that she wishes she could go to the ball, when her fairy godmother, Norma, shows up. And a deal is struck. Spider powers, ball, new dress, new hair, fairly standard. Norma offers to turn Petra's spider sidekick, Webster, I believe it is, into a carriage, but Petra's not into that. Though Norma says that would have been cool. Apparently, though, there's a goblin treasure, the crystal orb, which is stolen. And Norma wants Petra to stop the thief. But when midnight strikes, if Petra should choose to keep her powers, she'll lose the chance for love throughout this universe. No romance, just how the curse works. But fine print for it includes no deals with demons, no clones, no wizards undoing everything, no beyonders. So Petra arrives at the ball. The Queen, Queen Mysteria, states that years ago, her husband the king was killed by one of the assassins of the six, an assassin from one of the 6 neighboring kingdoms. We see some members of some of the rulers of the neighboring kingdom, including a strange king, as well as a diamond queen. But Queen Mysteria and Bishop Octopus attack the assembled nobles. Petra does what she can to prevent the attack. Queen Mysteria places the crystal orb on her head, becoming the Mysterious Empress. And yeah, her outfit is green with purple highlights, and a brooch on her cloak with a purple brooch with an eye symbol on it. Yeah, it's Mysterio. But James helps Petra deal with Bishop Octopus, as well as Queen Mysteria. Um, then, while James tries, after all is said and done, James tries to say, hey, I, I like you, and maybe there could be something between us. But just before Pedro can explain the curse, blah blah blah, Madam Web, Aranya, and Spider UK walk through a portal to recruit Petra to their cause. Next up, we've got Spider-Mobile in Drive You Crazy. So Spider-Mobile is from Earth 53931, where everyone is a car. Like, cars and cars. Headlights or eyes, But Spider-Mobile's name is Peter Parked Car. But apparently the great driver has returned. And Parked Car passes by his Aunt T, who just withdrawing her oil reserves from the bank because of the great driver. But Peter's spider senses are tingling, so he goes off into an alley and turns into the spectacular Spider-Mobile. He fights off the great driver, revealing him to be none other than Mr. Ario Speed Buggy, the mechanical master of illusion. As Peter drives away, Spider UK comes from a portal and recruits him to help with, the current problems in the Spider-Verse. This for our last story, Sun Spider in Promised Circumstances. So Sun Spider is from Earth 20023. Charlie Weber. Charlotte is suffers from Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which has her pretty much wheelchair bound. But it's prom night, and so she meets up with her three friends, Aster, Glory, and Angelica. Pretty sure it's supposed to be Firestar, the Angelica's Firestar. However, the prom is being held in a location that that isn't exactly accessible. Isn't entirely accessible for those who can't necessarily use stairs at least not too well. But so the dance occurs, and fellow student Otto Octavius wants to give Charlie new legs and a corsage, and one thing she has to say is that she kind of hates the fact that everyone assumes they know what's best for her, even if she says no, that's not what I want. But as Sun Spider, her and Histomania deal with Doc Ock. Well, like senior Ock. He hasn't graduated high school, but Ock is taken into custody. And the dance is evacuated. However, technically Charlotte was never actually evacuated, and she's not really happy about this. But she tells her friend Aster that she expects a dance when she gets back from the bathroom after fixing her mascara. Before she had that dance, however, Madam Web and Spider UK recruit her. Apparently, they've been watching her all day, and they recruit her to help with the problems of the Spider-Verse. So that is where our issue ends. This has been a fun series, and I'm liking the introduction of these new Spider Totem characters. with the fact that the first story arc in the upcoming Dan Slott, Mark Bagley Spider-Man series is called "The End of Spider-Verse," I'm potentially a little bummed out because, well, yeah, End of Spider-Verse means no new Spider characters from other Earths. But anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Darth Vader number 27. Where we left off, Vader was going after Imperial Governor Tantaza, who is a corrupt operative of Crimson Dawn, who seems to be using a riff on the Legends World Devastator to, well, devastate Gabrador 3. But Vader went to take down the machine with Sabe accompanying, and as well as Kitster, one of the residents of the planet. So the issue begins with Vader, Sabe, and Kitster returning, with Wald asking how Kitster, explaining that Vader saved Kitster, but Kitster kind of says, no, he saved Sabe. I was just, there. But the device is fired upon, bombarded by the Executor. However, its shields are strong to deflect her laser blasts. But they do manage to find a weakness. They can get to it they have to get to it from below. Vader has a plan and sets it into motion with the help of R5-D4. But the device is, when Vader draws near, it does kind of, it does weaken him a bit because it drains life force from the immediate area. But R5-D4 gets underneath, and much like R2 units, R5 units also have a storage compartment in the top of their head, and apparently that's carrying Vader's lightsaber, which, once the compartment's open, Vader ignites it. It is shot out by R5, and it makes its way through the vehicle before Vader reclaims it. And he goes on a bit of a rampage inside with Sabe and some of the stormtroopers backing him up. But the governor escapes. However, Vader is damaged. Vader's suit is damaged, and Sabe basically jumps him with jumper cables, reflecting on why she, on everything, namely that she trusted Padme. That this one last time she'll trust Padme's judgment. But R5 did some slicing as well, and it seems that the governor was receiving instructions directly from Coruscant. In fact, not just from Coruscant, but from the Emperor himself. And that is where the issue ends. Well, that's quite the wrinkle. But it's definitely getting interesting. I'm really digging the idea of having Vader run into the adult versions of Kitster and Wald, his childhood friends. It's the kind of thing. If this is like the only time it occurs, I'm just. I know it's not gonna be a normal thing. If it's the only time it occurs, cool. So, anyway, moving on to our last book for the moment, we've got Titans United, Bloodpact, #1. So, this starts off with Tim Drake waking up at the start, but he trying to figure out who he is and realizing he's not Robin, but he's still got all the skills. He's still, as far as he's considered, a hero. We then flashback to, well, simply then in Gotham City. Robin meets up with the rest of the Titans who are dealing with the Fearsome Five, who are trying to steal the Bloodstone from a Gotham museum for their current employer, who's revealed to be none other than Brother Blood. And Simon takes over Robin's mind, causing him to attack Nightwing. Then Brother Blood arrives, kind of setting off the Bloodstone. And however, Raven then arrives to help, and the whole thing is that she intends to, or the Trigon, or not Trigon, but Brother Blood intends to, well, rewrite reality completely with him and Raven ruling. And he does. Which brings us back to the beginning. Tim deals with some acolytes who are apparently trying to take down Jinx of the Fearsome Five. The two of them stop each other, but turns out that it's not the Church of the Blood that rules this world, but rather the Church of Raven. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting start. I'm definitely digging this. This is definitely a series I'll be picking up as it continues. I figure this is an easy entry point for things with being a first issue and all, and utilizing characters that I know. Anyway, that is going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.